you want to say hi to my author tube?
Hey, Jay's author tube.
My New Year's resolution?
Get 1 million subscribers.
That's it.
2 million.
There we go. What's yours? To watch my videos?
Bye, author tube. Subscribe.
Hey everyone, I'm Jay. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jay, as we've discussed, and I'm a literary fiction. Whoa, that was a little bit gruff. I'm so sorry. I'm a literary fiction writer, and I am currently working on a book that I call Grace, and it's a literary fiction book. Obviously, it is about a special ed substitute teacher and her journeys. I'm also a special ed substitute teacher, so it's my diary. Not really. For legal reasons, none of it is true. Yeah, I just wanted to intro this vlog. I'm very tired. Did I already mention that? But got to kick off the vlog. I did some writing today. I was writing with Luis. Shout out Luis. I was working through a scene. So basically, I'm going to talk more about this later, but my book is split into 3 different sections. They could be considered the 3 different acts, but they're not really following story structure. I'm just like, I don't really follow story structure. Look at this shark wine glass my friend Jenna got me. Shout out Jenna. Oh my word. Yeah, so they're not really 3 different acts, but they're 3 different sections. And my first section is kind of the it's a vignette section. There is an underlying story going on, but it's a lot of just vignettes because with substitute teaching, obviously you go to different classrooms all the time, and I'm following my main character Elle from the first day she works in special education until almost the end of the school year in this first section, and it's a lot of vignettes and her just kind of learning about things. Yeah, I just kind of want to paint a picture of what it's like working in special ed, but I also want to be careful because I think a lot of people who read this won't have experience in special ed, obviously. If I'm someone's only access point to this world, I don't want to portray it negatively, but I also want to be real about it because there are hard parts, but it's also such a joy. So I'm just trying to figure out the best details to include, and I think I want it to be 15 to 20,000 words, and I think I'm gonna do 30 to 40 vignettes. And so I was writing a vignette today when I was talking to Luis. Basically, something happens at school, and my main character, when you work in special ed, everyone's like, wow, you're a great person. And she kind of thinks she's a terrible person, and something happens at school that day that kind of confirms that she thinks she's a bad person. So I was writing that, and it was quite a joy. But if you've been following my videos, you might have noticed that every other video I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna plot the book so that I know everything before I start writing. And then in the next video, I'm like, I just wanna go with the flow and I don't wanna plot it. I just wanna see what happened. It's really annoying even to me, so I'm sorry. I don't remember where I left off, if I was gonna plot it or not, but basically I know where I'm leading to in this section, but I don't know exactly the order of events. And right now I'm just focusing on writing the vignettes and kind of in the end fitting them together like a collage, and then going through and making sure the emotional arc is steady. And then she has this subplot of this personal goal that she's working on, so I want to make sure that there's a through line for that. And then there's some little hints about some backstory that's going to become important in the next section, so I want to make sure that's all inserted. But I think it would be way too much if I was trying to plan 40 individual tiny scenes, because it doesn't really matter the order of a lot of this stuff that happens. It's kind of just, oh, another day at work. So yeah, I'm discovery drafting and I'm nervous about it, just like always. Don't worry, guys. I'm the same Jay you know from last time. I'm gonna film some writing B-roll, but then I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm gonna go to bed. I just think for the vlog, it's always good to get a little writing B-roll. Yeah, in this vlog, I'm just gonna be working on Grace. I have some things to share about it and some thoughts about publishing and things like that. Love you. Bye. Good night. I'm gonna go write. Okay, bye. Good morning, everybody. I need to come clean. Also, I'm sorry my bathroom fan is on because if you listen closely, I don't know if you can hear that. There's a baby crying.
Magic whisk, but I do have the whole like actual bowl and whisk setup.
I'm gonna be honest with you all because I love you so much. I had this idea for a clip where I would wake up in the morning and refresh my hair and fix it and talk to you guys about why I want to be traditionally published over indie published. But I honestly have started this like 3 times and I keep thinking I'm going to get canceled because I'm not expressing myself in the correct way. So honestly, my hair already looks pretty good because I've already like fixed it 3 times and then put it back and been like, good morning, everyone. I'm going to fix my hair. So yes, I've already started chipping away at the hair. Okay. And yeah, I think I'm going to get canceled. Okay. Honestly, I just filmed another clip and deleted it after that disclaimer because I almost got canceled again. Okay. Let me just preface this by saying I have never read an indie published book. And why have I never read an indie published book? Because I get my book recommendations from certain literary fiction like readers online, and then also the New York Times and other publications like that talk about books. I don't search for books myself, and so I want you to know that so you know I'm not talking about the quality of indie published books. Because every time I start talking about this, it sounds like I'm saying that indie published books are terrible. And that's not what I'm talking about. I just want to preface by saying I'm just talking about how I feel about my own writing and just like my confidence and my reliance on external validation. So yeah, basically what I've been trying to say for like 30 minutes now is that one of the reasons I would not go for the indie publishing route is because one of the things that people like about the indie publishing route is that there are not as many gatekeepers. And so if you love a book, you can publish it. And that's that. No one can say, oh, it's not good enough, it's not marketable enough. So that's one of the things that people like about it. But I want someone to gatekeep me. I want someone to stand in front of me and be like, no, girl, not yet. You need to try again. Because even though I have been writing for like 5 years now, like seriously writing for 5 years, that's still really early on in my writing career. And I just like the idea of someone else who has studied publishing and has sold books before and kind of knows what works in my genre. I like the idea of someone like that being the one to tell me if I'm ready or not, rather than me being like, I feel ready. I love this book so much. And one of the reasons I feel like this, lore drop, I actually have queried a book before. I queried it like 2 years ago. What is going on over here? One moment. Okay, so basically I wrote this book called The Bluffs. It was about, I don't know if I want to give away the tagline because I feel like honestly, one day I could write a comedy movie, but it's like a coming of age comedy thriller. So I'm not going to share the full premise, but it was about a garage band and they time traveled to 2010 and something was going on there. And I loved this book so much. I had all these characters. I love male friendships, so there was this group, the garage band, they were boys, and it was just like this male friendship, and it was in 2010, and it was just everything I loved in a book at the time. It was a YA, I don't know if I mentioned that. It was like a YA genre fiction book, because at the time that's what I was reading. I loved the book so much, and I believed in it so much. And then I queried it, and, crickets. I did get one rejection that was like, I love your writing, but not this. They were like, send me something else. And I didn't have anything else, so that was that. I was like, okay, well, it's not good enough, I guess. Like, it's not ready yet. And now, a few years later, I reread the book for the first time last year, and I was like, yeah, of course this should not be published. Like, it's not. I'm glad that's not out there in the world with my name on it. And I was just so relieved that I didn't try to indie publish it. Not that it's terrible, but it's like, it's not up to par with the YA books that I was reading at the time, but because I loved it so much, I kind of was like, it's great. And like I said, I do think it would make a fun little movie one day, but it's not literature. So yeah, that's a little lore drop for you. But because of that experience, I'm so okay with getting rejected in the query trenches. Obviously that it's gonna hurt because this is years later and I think I'm getting better. But I do respect the opinions of the agents that I want to query, because I just respect the kind of books that they have sold. Like people who have sold my favorite books, I would trust their opinion. If they said, you know what, your little masterpiece, the shark book, is actually terrible and you can't publish it, I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll just try something else. So yeah, I just want to talk about that. Maybe this will be the end of my career on AuthorTube. I hope I came across correctly. Oh, I need to fix my bangs still. Okay, I think I look good enough. So I just reread this book, If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English. I read it last year and I was just mesmerized. And the reason I reread it is because, similar to my book, Grace, this book has 3 distinct sections, and all of them have their own form that they're playing around with. And I was just thinking this would be great research. Also, the book is short, and ideally Grace would be around this length. Number one thing that I learned that kind of made me a little nervous is that okay, I'm not really going to talk about the last section in this book because it's kind of doing its own thing. So the first 2 sections. The thing that I noticed about both of those is that they each have their own distinct story within them. They go together, but they could stand alone as their own little short stories, and they have clear arcs and pacing is good. And I realized that my second section is going to be great. It follows story structure, it has clear arc and everything. But my first section, I was trying to be a little more experimental. I don't want it to be meandering too much. So I was kind of trying to think about the ways I could make it a little bit more engaging, because it is, like I said, little vignettes about her teaching. So I was like, what is wrong? Because it feels a little like nothing actually happens in here. And I realized 2 things. Number one, there wasn't a clear midpoint in this section, and you don't always need a midpoint, but I thought one would help. And I was trying to think of things that could happen, and immediately my mind was going to all these crazy things that could happen in the classroom. And I was like, what are the craziest things that have happened to me while I've been teaching? And then I was like, I just felt weird about that, because the book, it's about the teacher. It's about my main character, Elle. It's not really about the kids, because that feels weird to write about these nonverbal little autistic 6-year-olds. Like, it's not really about them. So it would be weird if the climax was like about a child. I don't know. It just was like, I just realized that I wanted to be something emotionally for her. So I thought of something that could happen in her home life that would be kind of a turning point and kind of change her perspective. So I'm working with that. And then I also realized that there was almost no dialogue in this section. It was very introspective, and I want to keep that up, but like, she needs to talk to somebody, especially because that's my favorite part of stories, is the dialogue and the character relationships. And the main character relationship doesn't start until like 20,000 words into the book. But I thought of little ways to kind of hint at it and build toward that. So she's gonna have, how much do I want to get into this? She kind of knows, my other main character's name is Sammy, and my main character Elle kind of knows him from before, but she doesn't really get to know him until the second section. So I added a little social gathering where he's mentioned, but he's not there, just so we kind of like get a little taste of what's to come. But while I'm saying all this stuff, like, oh, I want to make sure there's an arc and make sure there's dialogue and stuff, I kind of also want to accept that this is just, I'm trying something, I'm trying my own little thing. I don't have to do what other books do necessarily. So I'm taking inspiration from this. The pacing and the structure is similar to mine, but I also can just try something. And if it's a swing and a miss, I'll try again. I'll swing again. I don't want to get too much imposter syndrome and think, oh my God, I have to like copy other people because I'm not good enough. I'll just try something, and if it's boring and the pacing lags and people are scared of how much she's not talking to anyone, then I can change that. But I'm gonna go. Okay, bye. Hey guys, Editing Jay here. I was trying really hard to ignore it, but in the next clip, my hair just looks so bad. It looks like if Jonathan Byers got a clip-in ponytail and put it on the top of his head, but there's just nothing we can do at this time. I understand if you have to unsubscribe. It was so nice to have you here. Okay, love you, bye. Anyways, last night I wrote with Kay. You guys know Kay. She actually sent me her book. I'm very excited about it. But I was talking to her about my main character and I was like, I don't know her. I don't know what her problem is. That's been my phrase lately because I don't really know what her problem is. But I was describing, I spoiled the entire book as I usually do whenever I start talking about my book to my writing friends. But I told her everything and I was like, oh, I still don't really know Elle that well and it's bothering me. And Kay was like, I think she's an Enneagram 4. And I was like, okay. And then I was reading all about the Enneagram 4 and I was like, it was kind of stunning. I think Kay is a genius because I really was just talking in circles and not making any sense. And Kay was like, that's a 4. That was kind of cool because I felt like, okay, maybe Elle is a little more formed than I thought she was. And I just love having writing friends now because they can really open my eyes to things that I would not have noticed by myself. I have writing club tonight, aka I'm writing with Ryan and Josie, which is just such a joy. Maybe I'll get a clip of that. Thank you for watching. I love you so much. I want to give you a kiss. All right, that's it for this vlog. Goodbye. Mwah.